Hey, thanks for checking out another episode of Triple Play. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and don't forget to support those that support us, like our sponsor, Brookes Bible College. If you're somebody out there who's looking for a good college to check out, want to get a biblical degree and biblical studies at an affordable price, check out Brookes Bible College. They're here in the Midwest. Love them. They'll have all their information in the show notes. Consider if you're a college student or even a lay person, want to get a little bit deeper into biblical studies but don't want to pay a lot to do it, they're the place to go. That said, we have a really fun guest today on an episode. He's a friend of mine, and we've gone back quite a ways now. How long?
It has been a while, yes. I'm guessing sometime the early 2000s.
Yeah, we were both kind of jump-starting our careers in the business world at the time. And I've had the pleasure of being your friend, watching you grow spiritually, watching your business bloom, and getting to know you bits and pieces. And yet, every time I think I know you, you pull out something and share something new about your life that I don't know. So that's always fun. Just like earlier when we were talking, you were like, you don't even know anything about my childhood. So, and I know little bits and pieces. So I'm really curious.
Right. You know, I think everybody has things in their past that they share or they don't share, right? And you know, or do you have time to share it or you don't have time to share it?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is I've been watching you grow as an individual. And part of that is the story I want to jump into today. But for my listeners, Kevin, tell them a little bit about yourself, where you kind of grew up, just a little bit about your background. So
Sure.
Maybe where you went to high school.
Yeah, the St. Louis question.
St. Louis question, right.
Where'd you go to high schools? Yeah. So they could figure out where where you grew up. How much you value, whatever, right? And so I grew up in St. Charles, okay? And I went to Francis Howell North School District, or the Francis Howell School District, so I went to Francis Howell North. And from there, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wasn't one of those kids that knew exactly what they wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So what I did is I said, you know what, I'm not going to really go directly to college. I'm going to hit the community college scene. But I'm not going to go full-time because I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to waste a lot of money. So I worked full-time. I worked in constructions, building retaining block walls for a company. And what I would do is during the evenings, I would take a class. So I would take 3 credits a semester because I knew that if I didn't hang on, I would probably never go back. So I did that for like a year. I took 3 credits one semester in the evening, and then the next semester I did 3 credits. And then I looked at it and said, you know what, my back's hurting. My arms hurt, my wrists hurt. Maybe I should probably look at something different because I'm only like 19 at this time. And if I'm hurting this bad already at 19, I probably should be doing something different. So I decided to go back to school full time. But another thing that really pushed me there is my girlfriend at the time ended up going full time down to Southwest Missouri State, which today is called Missouri State. And I said, whoa, wait a second here. She's going off for college and I'm still here working and only doing 3 credits a semester. This ain't going to work out very well. And I don't want anything to happen here. So said, listen, I got to get a little fire under my butt, and go do something. And so went to school, went to community college full time, spent about a year in community college full time, transferred down to Missouri State.
So you became a Bear.
Yeah, yes. Though I don't know if I can say I'm fully indoctrinated into the Bear. We had a football team. I don't know how many fans they actually had that actually went to the games, but anyways, down there, my girlfriend at the time, she graduates. Just fast forward the 4 years or so, few years that I was in college down there. So I said, you know what? Listen, the year that we were apart, and I was up in St. Louis, you were down in Springfield. That didn't really work. I'm not going to stay down here another year. In fact, I think it'd be better for me to leave anyway. So when she graduated, I moved back to St. Louis. She moved back to St. Louis. And I ended up going to UMSL. So the University of Missouri, St. Louis. Graduated from the University of St. Louis. It's funny, Josh, I don't know if you know this or not, that the year I graduated college, we got a house and I got married. all in that same year. It was a busy year, and I'm trying to jumpstart my business all at the same time, 2003. So this year we'll be married 21 years, but we dated over about 10 years before that.
Wow.
So we've been together over 30 years. And here I am sitting here, you're going to be 46 this year. So that's a good portion of your life, spending with one person. So it's a good thing that I guess I went down to Springfield and then came back to St. Louis. So I graduate, I get married, we have a house, then we start having children, starting building a business and everything from there.
Yeah. So along the line, you and obviously you went through a lot of different experiences, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was your health, because I mean, you made a big transformation. When I met you, you were a little bit bigger. Just to be blunt. I mean, so was I at one point.
I appreciate you pointing that out for me.
Well, I was there too. And I lost a lot of weight. But then, some things happened in your life, and then all of a sudden I started noticing, but you took your weight loss even further than I did. I mean, I look at you and you got the 6-pack and everything. I've got the dad pack. So the 1-pack.
You know what?
Going on.
It's progress, right? The train's moving forward, right? But we're all on these railroad tracks together, right? And that's kind of like life is the way I look at it. It is a lot like railroad tracks. It's not always smooth. It's not going all uphill all the time. And it's not going downhill time. It's up and down constantly. And for me, it's a huge struggle because, I love food. I live to eat, right? There's a book, it's called something like Eat to Live instead of Live to Eat. I live to eat. I love to eat. And our lives surrounded around going to the movies and eating and doing everything. And yeah, of course, I gained a lot of weight. I think I graduated high school at like $145. I probably got out of college right around 195, could have been 205, somewhere right around that range. So a lot of weight. They say, you're going to gain your freshman 15. I'm pretty sure it was like the freshman 50 for me. I mean, we didn't eat good. I had bad habits. We would eat fast food all the time. Hey, give me 3 chicken sandwiches. You go to a local fast food restaurant, you'll say, I'll take 2 chicken sandwiches and 4 tacos, I couldn't imagine eating all of that today. But so, yeah. And Josh, I don't know about you, but for me, when I gained weight, I knew I was getting heavier, but I didn't realize how big I was. I knew my belts. I constantly was getting new belts. You go through the notches, and then when you're out of the notches, then you're getting a bigger belt. So I didn't even know, really. I don't know how I didn't know. I knew I was big, but I didn't realize how big I had gotten. So I got up to maybe 230-ish pounds or so.
So we were similar. I was about the same. I was hitting around high 230s, low 240s. My belt. I was going to have to go to size, I think it was like 40 or 42 pants or something like that. And I was, and then it all changed for me. That was my transformation, but I didn't realize we were literally about the same weight.
Yeah, well, so we were right around that, right? And then one day I get sick, like I'm not feeling well. So I go to one of them urgent care kind of centers, and I'm thinking I got, the flu or some sort of bug, right? So I go there and they check me out and they say everything looks fine. They give me some meds. I take the meds, give me steroids, things like that, just to get me feeling better. A few days later, they call me and they say, hey, how you doing? I said, I'm not feeling very well. I'm actually still feeling pretty sick. And they said, yeah, you should probably, come back in or go to your doctor. I was like, you know what, that makes sense. So when I got off the phone, I actually called my doctor and scheduled an appointment. And that was in the later part of the week, so he could see me. I believe it was like on a Monday, but I could be wrong on the day. But I remember going into the doctor's office and just feeling awful. And finally, when he was able to see me, when they put you in the waiting room and you're waiting for a long time, and then they finally see you and then they put you in another waiting room. That's kind of, like what my life was like. But I got into the room and he walks in, he's like, Kevin, you don't look very good. And he grabs one of those oxygen things and he puts it on my finger and he goes, go call Kelly and tell her to pack a bag for you because you're going to the hospital right now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I'm in a wheelchair. So luckily the doctor's office is connected to the hospital. And so they wheeled me over, in there and got me a room. My oxygen at the time was right around like 84, 85. Okay. And so not knowing any of this stuff. And he kind of said, well, that's where a little bit more your organs can start to shut down. And I said, wow, this is a big deal. I knew I felt bad, but I just didn't know how bad it really was. So I was in the hospital for a while and it was my life. It was in and out of the hospital constantly.
I remember that.
I didn't know, Josh. I had no idea if tomorrow was going to be my last day. I had no idea. I would be in the hospital. What do they give me in the hospital? They give me more steroids. All right. Then I'm out of the hospital, go back into the hospital, more steroids. And I don't know if you've ever taken steroids before. They make you really hungry and you can't eat enough food. And I remember the last time that I was in the emergency room, I'm pretty sure I pounded like one of them full-size breads that come to your table from a restaurant, I'm pounding this thing. But anyways, like all the way leading up to all these different events, I have my general practitioner. And he's like, I don't really know what's going on. So I'm going to send you off for all these tests. I said, okay, that sounds good. So I go to a cardiologist. He does a cardiac cath. There's no blockage. Things look great. We don't have an issue here. So then I go to the pulmonologist. And the pulmonologist is doing a nuclear lung test on me. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those done, but basically you lay down and they have this machine that slowly moves over the top of your chest and it just kind of slowly just keeps moving. And you're there for a very long time. And I'm claustrophobic. And the last thing I want to do is be stuck in something, like this. But anyways, I guess it's looking at blockage in your lungs to see if you have any sort of pulmonary blockage. That's fine. No issue. So my pulmonologist, I have a pulmonologist now, and he's prescribing steroids. Okay. An inhaling steroid. I don't even remember. Actually, I do remember the name, but it's like a powder that I would put in my mouth and I would inhale it. The cardiologist, I had to wear one of those little monitors as well to say, hey, is there something here? We don't see any blockage, so there might be something here. Test comes back from that, nothing there. Test comes back from the pulmonologist, nothing. No one can figure it out. And so one day I ended up, they said, you know what, we reeled out all of these big things. We got to figure out what this is. It's something that we just don't know what it is. So they send me to an allergist. So I go to an allergist, and he puts all those little prickly things on your back. But this guy, it was crazy. This is the first time I ever really talked to a doctor for a long time. And he's asking me stories about my life. Like, when did this happen? And I said, we moved into a new house and, we did this. And I started feeling a little bit better when we got new carpet. And he's just asking me all these different questions about it. And I said, well, I started talking. He goes, and he looks at the test, because of my skin and it's raised up. He goes, I think you have a cat allergy. It's a cat allergy. I said, well, we did have a cat and, we got rid of the cat and we changed the carpet and I was feeling better. And maybe, I don't know. He says, here, I need you to take this drug. Okay. So I take this drug and I started feeling better. I started feeling a little bit better, but then I started getting worse again. Started feeling really, really bad. And it's strange. So now I have a cardiologist, a pulmonologist, an allergist, a general practitioner, and really, Josh, none of these people can figure out what's wrong with me. And I'm walking to a place. Kelly and I go out on Friday night, and I run into my cousin. And she's telling me about all these wonderful things about her doctor. And I'm like, Katie, give me her number. I just, what she does is unheard of. Okay, first off, because it's like they all have their own silos. Cardiologist, pulmonologist, whatever, right? You got to go to all these different specialists. So you have a doctor that actually sits down and listens to you, and she does all these different types of blood work, and then she tries to figure out, what's wrong. And she's like, yeah. She goes, I'm not going to do it justice. Try to call her, tell her that I told you, because I don't think she's taking it on any patients, and see if she'll visit with him. So I call up. I set up an appointment. Takes a while to get in, but I finally get in there. And she talks about where most doctors will prescribe medications to try to help with the symptom, but most of these symptoms that we have are probably caused by something we're putting in our mouths, eating, okay? Because none of us really eat right? And so I said, okay, and she goes, so we've got to run these tests based upon, what's causing it, right? We want to do blood work, but we want to figure out, what's really getting down to the root cause of it, because we don't want to just prescribe you a bunch of medications. You've already done that. You've been taking steroids for a long time. You've been up and down on those. Now your weight's sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 279 pounds. I said, yeah, I can tell. I can feel it, right? I'm still not breathing very good during any of this point. I mean, it got so bad, Josh, that from my office, where my office is, I parked in the parking lot pretty close to the door. I'd walk to the door. Couldn't take the steps up. We're only on the second floor. I'd take the steps up now, but I had to go to the elevator, take the elevator up to the second floor, get to my office. In my office is a machine so I can have a nebulizer and do a breathing treatment so I can make it through the day, because I was already wiped out. And that was my life. Hospital, work, tons of breathing treatments just to keep me going. That's why I didn't know if things were going well. So I meet the doctor. She runs all these tests. It takes some time to get these things back. And she says, all right, Kevin, honestly, I don't know what's wrong with you, but we're going to start eliminating things in your diet. I said, okay. So she shows me this chart, and it shows me where there's green and there's red and there's yellow on this chart. And there's 3 little boxes next to a lot of different types of foods. And most of them, they had green boxes. And she goes, these, you can eat them, no problem. Here's some yellow boxes that, I don't think you should probably eat these right now, but maybe we could reintroduce them back into your life. And some of those boxes were dairy, potatoes, maybe cod was in there, which I thought was weird because I don't even eat cod anyways. But she goes, this box here. She goes, see how all these got 3? This one actually, for some reason, they added 2 more boxes and they're red. Don't ever touch it. I said, okay. Well, though that box was wheat. Had no idea. She goes, I think you have an intolerance to wheat. You should stay away from it. So don't eat wheat. Don't eat potatoes. Don't eat dairy. Well, do you know when you're wheat-free, the substitute is potatoes? So what am I going to eat, right? And so Josh, I lost weight the easy way. I got sick. Not getting sick, I probably would have continued gaining weight. I was dairy-free, potato-free, wheat-free for a very, very long time. And the weight was just pouring off of me. I didn't even exercise, Josh, and the weight just pouring off of me because I just was eating vegetables and protein. I did, and I say I did it the easy way because I couldn't eat those things. It was either eat that and die, or go to the hospital, or don't eat it. Well, I didn't like going to the hospital as much as I did. So to kind of boil this all down, it turns out that I started reintroducing things back into my life. And I introduced dairy back into my life. When you don't eat dairy for a long time and you eat dairy, it's pretty tough on the stomach.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty tough on the stomach, Josh. And
The older I get, the more I notice that now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Dairy's not real good for you. You know, they always say drink it for your bones and all of that. Well, we can get that type of health through other things. You know, but dairy's not really good for us. But I did love cheese. So it took me a while to reintroduce dairy back into my life. But I'm a pizza guy. So I love my cheese. And it was hard to eat gluten-free crust with no cheese on it, with dairy-free cheese. There's not a dairy-free cheese that's very good. I've tried them all. Maybe nowadays, but I eat cheese again. But anyways, so the weight was pouring off, Josh, and then I started walking a little bit. I couldn't run. I couldn't jog. My oxygen still wasn't very, very good. And then I remember there's one time Cal came over to the local school that I was jogging on because it was right in our backyard. And I tried to start running, and I feel the excitement that I actually, and I say running, I'm talking about jogging. I jogged around the track, and it was just awesome. I felt so good because I could barely walk. You know, my whole this whole time from like end of 20, probably beginning of 2017 into 2018 or 2016 into 2017. I can't remember the exact dates. I'd have to go back to the medical records and look at it, but it's a pretty thick amount of papers. But the weight was just pouring off me. She helped me out an awful lot. But I would still go to the doctor. I would still go to the emergency room. And we still couldn't figure out really what the problem was until I eliminated wheat from my diet completely. And it turns out, Josh, yes, I am allergic to cats. Okay, like the first allergist said. I definitely am because my face gets numb when I'm around them. But I'm actually allergic to wheat. Now, how can one develop an allergy later in life? I was one of those guys that, you know, you're on the plane and they say you can't eat peanuts because there's somebody allergic to peanuts. And I'm like one of those guys like, where are they at? I'm sitting in this seat. I'm not throwing my peanuts at these guys. Can I just eat it? You know? But it's opened my eyes and you don't realize. I realize now that allergies are very, very serious because when I eat wheat, my throat starts to close and I can't breathe. And that's why my oxygen levels were dropping in the 80s because my wife was really good at taking notes every time something happened to me. What were we doing? Every single time we were leaving some sort of restaurant or I had just got done eating at home or what have you. And we figured it out. It was wheat, and my doctor now saying don't eat wheat, and I'm not having these issues. But occasionally I would still have them because when I go to a restaurant, I would ask, wheat. So a lot of people don't really know what that is. So then I would ask them for the label and say, okay, that's fine. And then they would accidentally, there would be wheat or something that's in there that would cause it straight to the hospital. Okay. Now I'm very, very cautious. So anytime I'm going out to eat, I am really vegetable protein. Okay. At home, I can be a little bit more relaxed because I know what all the ingredients are. But when I go out to a restaurant, you have to be very, very careful.
And when you say no wheat, are you meaning no gluten or no wheat period?
No wheat period, but they run synonymous with each other.
Well, in America, they do. In America, we have gluten that we add to all of our wheat because we spray it on the ground.
Well, and our wheat product is and I don't know a whole lot about this, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but our wheat is divided up into many kind of different categories, where in Europe, it's like wheat is wheat, okay? So someone has told me, said, Kevin, if you go to Europe, you probably could have wheat over there and you might be fine. I've never really actually tried it. I did when I was in Europe. I still tried to stay gluten-free. I still did gluten-free. But I would get to know my restaurants.
It would be interesting if you grabbed some wheat and went sometime over there and brought it home. Not to have it there so you don't ruin your time there. but could just try a little bit over here, like some noodles or something like that, and just see how I'd be curious. So
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't know. So when I was just in Europe not too long ago, I made sure that they knew I was gluten free. Midwest, we're starting to get the hang of gluten free stuff, but we're still at the very, very beginning. You're on East Coast and West Coast, it's pretty easy to eat gluten free. Eating in Europe actually is fairly easy to eat gluten free. Eat here in St. Louis, it's still a little difficult. I even went to a restaurant one time that, they have a really, really good amount of gluten-free stuff. And they are pretty good at, getting things gluten-free. I've probably gotten sick there only one time, but I love it because even though I'm gluten-free, right, or wheat-free, I go to the restaurant that kind of touts themselves as being really good at gluten-free. So they have decorations of wheat actually in the restaurant, Josh. Big things of wheat. And I'm like, that's interesting that you would actually have wheat, as a decoration. But anyways, so 279 is where my max weight got to. Today, I'm sitting at 159 pounds. Again, I did it the easy way. I got sick. I couldn't imagine how heavy I would be as if I never got sick. But that's a big epidemic here for the U.S. is people getting morbidly obese. I never thought of myself as morbidly obese. I knew I was fat, Josh. I knew I was a big guy. But I never thought I would be morbidly obese. And that just was a shocker to me.
Well, I bet you now, as you look back, I know I do, a lot more energy.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot more energy. Yeah.
Feel a lot better throughout the day.
I'm more aware of what I'm eating.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more aware of what I do to stay in shape as well, too. I wasn't a guy ever to work out. I don't like working out. I definitely don't like cardio. But I found myself doing it, and it was okay. As long as I got some tunes on while I'm running, it's tough to run when you don't have music on.
So I have a thing I do. So I agree. I can run outside with music. I cannot even run inside of a gym with music. I have to distract myself. I watch on an iPad. I have an iPad. I put it on a treadmill or elliptical, whatever I'm doing that day, it's Stairmaster, and I put on an episode for 40 minutes or whatever it is, 35 minutes, and that's my cardio. Because if I am not distracted up here, I struggle. I will the whole time. It just feels like I'm just battling being at the gym. I go to the gym every day. I'm a gym rat, and I do cardio every day. Everybody knows it. I do it. You can't beat it because I go all out. I'm like, if I'm going to be here, I want to get the most I can out of this in the shortest period of time. So I set goals for myself every day. When I get there, I'm going to knock out 800 calories in 40 minutes or whatever it's going to be. I'm just going to pound this out really quick. And I'm going to do the toughest level, whatever. But for me to do it, I have to be distracted. I cannot if I'm when people try to talk to me, I can talk for a little while, but after about 5 minutes, I'll be like, dude, I got to go back to my movie or I'm going to quit working out here.
Yeah, it's tough for me to be on a hamster wheel, just doing it like that. So if I am going to run, I'm going to run outside. I have a treadmill. I think I maybe have turned it on like 3 times. I have a rower. Now I don't mind rowing occasionally. Rowing's kind of fun because I'm using my arms and my legs. So I'm not just kind of running on the treadmill, staring at a blank ball. It's very, very tough for me to do that, but I prefer doing it outside. But to be honest with you, I don't even like doing it at all. So I don't even really do a whole lot of cardio anymore. I think cardio is good, especially if you're in like that stage 2, right? It's going to burn. It's going to burn the most. Okay. But I always think it's good to lift free weights. But I think that the problem is for me, I was one of those guys that would sign up for a gym membership right around that January 1st time. And you get in the gym and you do it for a little bit. And I was one of those people that would never show up again. And they got a pretty good racket going on because you got to go back to the gym to cancel your membership. So here I am, 279 pounds, and I got to go cancel my gym. That's embarrassing. So, I did that for a while, and canceled, eventually. But now I like working out at home. I'm disciplined enough to go home. Now there's a few times like, oh man, I gotta go work out still, but I do it. But my workouts aren't real long, 30 minutes to 50 minutes. It all depends if I'm playing on my phone or something, in between workouts and stuff. But you don't have to work out with a lot of weight. I mean, that's the thing I think a lot of people think, like, how much do you bench? 400 pounds, 300 pounds, whatever, right? No, I don't even bench. That's the thing. I just use dumbbells. Now, yeah, I do dumbbell presses, which is like a bench press. But Monday we have what we call is our push day. So it's going to be some sort of dumbbell exercise that we're pushing. And then every day that I'm working out, I'm doing some sort of incline sit up or leg lifts or something to get you that core exercise. Cause that's my main focus. Try to get a 6-pack. I don't have one. I'd love one. That would be awesome. Right.
You're close, buddy.
It feels like it, right? I mean, you go from 279 pounds down to 159 pounds, but I didn't do it all by myself. I had a lot of help during the way. I love my general practitioner that I had. He tried his best, my pulmonologist. We had great conversations we were in there. In fact, he was a KA down at Mizzou, and he knew a lot of my buddies that were KAs down at Mizzou. My cardiologist, I didn't really know him too much, but he was a nice guy, The allergist guy, he spent a ton of time with me, and he really, really tried to help me out as much as he could. But, unfortunately, he didn't hit it, right? So they did find a doctor that was able to show me, what was actually going on, which was awesome, because now I'm not worried about if I'm going to die tomorrow or not. I know that I'm still going to be here for Olivia, Harrison, Piper, and Sutton, and my wife, Kelly. I know I'm going to be here. So now I'm more working on making sure that I will be around for a long time and trying to increase my longevity. And I think it's really, really important to make sure that we eat right. But trust me, I love food, so I'm going to mess up. I'm still going to eat a pizza. I'm still going to do it. I mean,
going to grab into your kids' Halloween candy and grab one of those Reese's or whatever every now and then?
Gosh, that's my Achilles heel. I mean, I'm not a cake eater. All right. I'm fine without eating cake and pies and stuff like that. And the good thing is I didn't like pasta anyways, but snack, like sweet foods. I wasn't really too much in that area, but the candy bars, right? The Halloween bags, those Sour Patch Kid, that's my Achilles heel. And the potato chip, because I have reintroduced dairy and potatoes back into my life. I just don't touch wheat because obviously I can't breathe. My throat would swell up. And so, yeah, you got to have cheat days. You got to enjoy it.
Sure.
But, you got to get right back on the horse. And that's the hardest thing is when you fall off, you got to say, you know what? It happened. I got to get back on.
Yeah, just consistency. I think consistency, you're not... You know what? If you don't really ever fall off, if you're always consistent, it's just times where you got to pause. Maybe your body needs a rest. Maybe you've got some stuff going on in life. Yeah, I just look at it as the rest. You go on vacation for a week. You might still do some exercise if you're hiking, whatever, but it's not going to be the same. It's not a full workout. You come back, get in your routine, and jump right back in.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing: we need to reward ourselves for the things that we do good. The problem is in my life, I just always rewarded myself with food and I didn't never pull back. Right. I mean, it's like budgets, right? Budgeting money. I only got so much money coming in from my job and I have my expenses. So if I want to save some money, there's got to be something left over. It's like calories in and calories out, right? Our metabolic rate. How many calories am I actually burning? If you're looking on your Stairmaster treadmill, and you said there's so many calories I need to burn. Well, that's great, but how many calories did I eat for that day? And so, am I pounding 3,000 calories a day? Or am I eating 1,500 calories a day? Did I just eat 1,500 calories at that fast food restaurant? How many do I have to burn to be able to actually start to lose weight? So it's all good. All of that's great. But there's some people out there, Josh, that no matter what it is that they do, they're not going to lose weight because their bodies are made differently. And so, my doctor, the one that I was talking about that I say saved my life, she prescribed a medication to help me also lose weight. And some people think that drug could be bad. Some people think that drug could be good. I think it's saved tons of people's lives, and it currently is saving. It's helping the biggest problem that America has, which is obesity. Though I don't think that we can rely just on that. I think we still have to be disciplined to make sure that we're eating good, to help out, to get us to where we're at. But I also think, it's good to exercise. So Mondays are push days. Wednesdays are pull. So we're pulling a dumbbell. Fridays are leg day. And I'm supposed to do cardio in between those days on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But again,
that is discipline. Hey,
I don't like cardio. So I had a friend over at the house last night, and he said, we're doing cardio today. He goes, we're doing sprint, walk, and we're just going to do this 10 times. It wasn't that bad. Actually, the mixing up of it wasn't too bad. The steady pace of just jogging, it gets a little boring. And it's probably good that I had someone next to me that I could talk to.
I think I always tell people when it comes to cardio, you just got to find your thing. My daughter runs. She loves it. That's her thing. For me, if I go, I'm not much of a treadmill person. I usually go on like an elliptical where I'm doing, in fact, my favorite machine kind of emulates like a hike rock climbing. It's more of a, not Stairmaster up and down, but it's more of an up like this.
Oh, the elliptical you're talking about where
it's kind of an elliptical, but it's kind of built a little different. It's a little more freer than a normal elliptical that just does this or just does this.
Okay.
This one kind of, think of an elliptical that's kind of built like a Stairmaster.
Okay.
So you can kind of go up.
Almost like a bicycle, but you're like longer strides. And
you're able to do longer strides. You're kind of able to go up higher with it, almost like a stair. It's supposed to emulate like free hiking. Like when you're hiking, you don't hike usually. Like if you're hiking, let's say in the Smoky Mountains, you're kind of going up gradual things. And so you're not going up like this, but you're not necessarily going like this. So it's got an in-between. And I like that because I get a good workout on it, and I'll put it on its hardest level. And you're moving your arms with it. It's like, so I get a good workout.
Doesn't it feel good like after you're done working out? I mean, I might not want to get down there and go do that, but after I'm done, I'm like, yeah, I did that.
Well, my point is you got to find what you got to find the reward, and then you got to find what you're good at and enjoy. And for me, it's the checking out, watching a 30-40 minute movie, just being distracted, and it can't be a boring movie. It has to be something that pulls me in, and whether I'm watching a TV show where Navy SEALs are everywhere doing whatever, that kind of a thing.
And yeah, like when you were talking about that, you were right around that weight where I was before I got sick, and it increased even more. It's like that thing, like you're in a 36-inch pants, and then you go to the 38s, and then the 40s, and then the 42. I think I hit like a suit like 48, but I had to take it in just a little bit. And for me, I'm working in the business world, so I'm wearing suits or nice dress pants or whatever. And so, you know what I'm talking about because you gained weight too, so you understand that.
Oh, I have these suits. I still have a couple pairs. I'm like, I'll just get those adjusted. I never have because I just don't wear suits as much anymore.
You get those things adjusted like pants. The pockets touch in the back. You can only adjust them so much, right? It's crazy. And then when you're losing weight, you never keep all that stuff. Well, maybe some people do, but I never kept that stuff that I grew out of. I probably wish I should have, right? So I'm buying new clothes as I'm gaining weight, and then I realize now I got to buy new clothes as I'm losing weight, and it's funny, like even today, like when I put on pants that I bought, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, and they've already got a big gap in them already. And I'm like, wow, how can that happen already? Did they forget to take these in when I bought them or what? But, it happens, but it's a better feeling buying a new outfit when you're losing weight than it is when you're gaining weight, because nothing seems to fit right and everything seems to be uncomfortable. I think, at least for me, it was.
I think everybody. I don't think it seems to be. I think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah, and Josh, when you're 280 pounds, over 300 pounds, whatever. I mean, you got listeners that are probably somewhere in that neighborhood, and some may be smaller, some may be bigger. But here's the thing: nothing feels worse than sitting on an airplane and people look at you like you probably should. I mean, like when you're putting the seatbelt on and you're at that point where you almost needed the extender, or maybe you probably should use the extender, and you just squeeze it on as hard as you can, and people look at you. Yeah, it makes you feel very, very uncomfortable. And I don't get those looks today, but I'm going to say that I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't mind sitting next to somebody now that is sitting in my seat because they're a little bigger, because I got a little extra room to spare. And it doesn't really bother me anymore. But I understand. I understand how people feel because I've been there, right? And when you've gone through it, you understand. And you know what? Hey, sometimes I'll share with them, be like, hey, look at this. I show them pictures of what I used to look like. Maybe tell them my story about what's happened. And maybe I'm a little bit more detailed than I am today. But it's a fun thing to talk about. I enjoy talking about it. I'm happy. I'm more happy. I got more energy today to go do things with the kids. I actually don't mind enjoying working outside and doing things. It's fun. But you know what it's like when you gained weight, you had to buy all these clothes. Now you're buying clothes because you're losing weight. But I'm guessing you probably feel like you have a lot more energy today than what you had in the past.
Oh, absolutely. I enjoy, and I enjoy being able to keep up with my kids now.
Yes. So the friend that that I was running with last night, he goes, I mean, this guy, he's always been in shape his entire life. This guy has done nothing but eat good and exercise, and always. I mean, he's like the poster child for health, right? So we're sprinting and I'm like flying past him and he's like, "You're quick, dude." And I'm like, I wasn't trying to be quick. You said sprint, so we're sprinting, I'm just doing it. But I didn't realize that I could sprint. Because I don't ever really do that. But it's a good feeling. And you know what it's like. And anybody that's ever lost weight, and they know what it's like. But sometimes, Josh, we need help.
That's true.
Spiritual help. Friends help, right? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, words can cut deeper than a knife. I mean, somebody could say something and not even mean anything by it, but that could hurt more than a knife. And I understand what people go through when they're bigger. If it's an extra 10 pounds or 100 pounds or 200 pounds, it's tough and it's hard.
The other thing I noted, and you said help, spiritual help and friend help, but there's another help too, is that, I mean, most people when they're losing weight got to have some kind of supplements or medication going on, especially as you get older, because you were saying, I mean, earlier that there's a lot of people who can't necessarily lose weight because their bodies just won't let them. For men, one of the number one things is, one of the number one reasons men after age 30 struggle losing weight?
Well, as we get older, we start losing testosterone.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's where I was when you said, yes. So spiritual help, friends, faith, family, friends, finances, fitness, they kind of all go together. And I think, to be well-rounded, we got to make sure that we're looking at all those areas. But yeah, definitely some of us need a little extra help. And as we get older as men, our testosterone levels, they start to decrease. Some people, I think, take testosterone that shouldn't be taking it, but you definitely have to make sure that you talk to the doctor and make sure that you're doing it properly. But yeah, I personally take supplements and different types of medical prescription drugs to help me. Biohack is kind of what my doctor calls it, to get me to where I want to be.
Yeah, I literally had lunch yesterday with a commercial lender friend of mine, and we were talking about exercise a little bit. And both of the guys I had lunch with,
Okay.
and one of them literally said, "Hey, I've been working out for about the last 3 months and I haven't had any results. So I went to go see my doctor, and they did some blood work." And I looked at him. I said, "Your testosterone was 0, wasn't it?" He gave me the reading. I said, "That's basically 0." He goes, "Yeah." I said, You're just a few years older than me. You're heavier. So the more heavy you are, that's even another sign on your testosterone, right?
Right.
You're not eating right. That's another driver. You're not exercising. All those things that help keep your testosterone up, they're not doing. His testosterone levels basically 0. He was sitting at almost, literally like nothing in a tank testosterone wise. And so, they did the blood work and gave him that. And he's like, "Dude, I'm feeling so much better." And he goes, "I'm already down 30 pounds in
Wow.
I think it had been a week ago. I think in a week he'd already lost 30 pounds because he was just doing what he'd already been doing, but hadn't had results. But just getting the testosterone so the body knew how to properly do things.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's so many different forms of that. You got the nasal one where you can put that little spray in your nose, or that it's like a Vaseline, the pellets, or the injections. There's multiple different kinds. But what I've found though, and I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but I'm okay with that. What I found is some of these places that prescribe it may give us too much at one time. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. Just for me, I didn't think it wouldn't work that way. So microdosing was much better for me, but I think you should always go see a doctor. But
yeah, absolutely. We're not health professionals. We're just saying that this is out there, but for you, this worked. And
yeah,
absolutely.
Seek advice, right?
You know what's good to do in the medical community? Seek more than one advice.
Yeah. Our medical, I could go on a rant for probably a week on our medical industry. They're time starved. The problem in my situation is that I had a pulmonologist, a cardiologist, general practitioner, a neuro person as well at one point in my life, a colon doctor. Okay, so I had all these different doctors. The problem is none of them talk. They might be all a part of the same hospital network. They don't talk to each other. They don't read the notes. If you ever think about when you go to your doctor, my doctor, I don't have him anymore, but I like the guy, but he'd sit there and type on his typewriter, or his typewriter, see how old I am, his computer, while I'm talking to him. He asked me a question, start typing. Asked me a question. Well, by that time, I already forgot all the questions I was going to ask him because I had to wait an hour in the waiting room for him and then another 20 minutes to go see him again, right? But none of them, they don't have time. They're seeing, honestly, I have no idea, but I would guess they see 35, 40, 50, 60 patients a day. There is no way that you can keep track with all that. Even if it's 20 people a day, there's no way you can keep up with that.
I was saying this the other day that's a big part of when we went to the Obamacare, whether you like it or not. There's some pluses and minuses to it, but just one of the consequences anytime you go to universal health care is always the elimination of the small people who typically would be those fillers. And so everybody's got to get underneath umbrellas like urgent care by Mercy or whoever to get that insurance umbrella and all that liability and cover. And, anytime they've gone to that, it's happened in Europe, it happened in Canada. Now we're experiencing it. You go down the street. When we were kids and you drove down the street, you'd find little doctors everywhere. They're all gone now.
Yeah, a lot of them gotten gobbled up by the big hospitals.
Well, they had to. When Obamacare went in, it changed liability purposes and equipment. It made a new standard for a type of equipment.
Well, if you've ever seen a doctor's office code things, they have to put the proper codes on it for the health insurance company to pay for it. One time I was waiting for my appointment, or I was after my appointment, and I was waiting to talk to a lady to schedule my appointment. She was doing all the coding, to bill for what I just had, for the blood work and stuff like that. And she goes, "Kevin, look at this." And there must have been 20 different codes for one thing that I had. She goes, "If I put this code, it's not going to work." And I didn't need a lesson in codes that day, but I listened to her. And she goes, "We don't get paid." And so they don't really make a lot of money doing all these different things. And sometimes the insurance companies don't even pay them. So I don't even go to those systems anymore. I think it's a waste of time, but some of us, I think, are forced to go there. I use a concierge doctor. I pay my doctor so much money on an annual basis to be able to have them. Less clients, better service.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go to somebody that just puts me in with the masses and just wants to prescribe some sort of medication to try to fix something. I want to get down to the root cause like my doctor did. And I love that doctor. She's great. She saved my life. But I still talk to her today and still see her a few times, but I have a different type of doctor to help me get to where I want to go. I have a goal to get to a certain body fat percentage. Never thought I'd ever want to do that. And so this doctor has prescribed me an entire life plan to get there. He gave me my workout plan. I have a personal trainer. I don't know what country he's in. It's somewhere in Europe, he told me, but I forgot. And I meet with him on a weekly basis, and he loads all my exercises in an app. It's awesome. Because I was one of those guys that go to the gym, like, what do you do? Bench press, you hit the treadmill, you go home, feel like you got a good workout, but I didn't really get the good workout that I needed to get out. So he's gearing it towards different types of muscles on all these different push, pull, leg day, and how to build all this stuff. So he gives me my workout plan through the personal trainer, my prescription plan through the biohacking based upon my blood work. And when you get your blood work back, you don't even know what that stuff means. I don't know what that stuff means.
No, that's what they're for, right? They're doctors.
Yeah.
They understand your deficiency in vitamins and minerals and what you need to take. And when we say biohacking, some of that's just taking this stuff that you can even get over the counter. It's not always taking injections. It could be vitamins, but also it could be customized vitamins.
I mean, I take a lot of supplements that are over the counter, right? But you have to be careful on those supplements because it may not be what you actually need. And then again, you got to see a qualified person, and that's what I've done. And I've learned a lot from them by doing this because I'm actually really interested in it because this has changed my life.
Well, you're 100%
I went down the path
right.
of dying potentially to now living, and it's great.
Me and my wife were literally talking about this the other day because I had heard a podcast with a guy who's a natural,
Like a holistic,
like more holistic, kind of what we're talking here. We're doing blood work, and he does prescriptions. He has a whole pharmacy and a whole group. And we were talking about the podcast. He was on Joe Rogan. He was on Joe Rogan not too long ago.
Okay.
And I said, ignore some of the cursing, but because I get it's guys, but listen to the content. And he was talking about like some of the different things in vitamins and multivitamins that you have to be careful of. That even though it says this ingredient, you see if it says this exact ingredient. If not, this is actually harmful. This is actually not what you want in your vitamin. And so she's been really getting into it. And she found like the multivitamins that she was taking had the wrong stuff. And my men's ones have the right stuff. And they're the only ones she's been able to find so far. So she started taking my men's vitamin supplements.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's definitely want to make sure you're using the right one. And, getting advice through Instagram or TikTok or something like that, right? I've seen so many different things on those advertisings, and people buy that stuff. But a lot of times we end up taking a lot of things and they affect a lot of different things. It's like pulling a lever that you pull this lever here, this lever over here moves. We got to understand how it all affects. I'm not a doctor. I don't understand it. I have some knowledge because I've been going through this for a pretty long period of time, but I'm learning stuff every day as I'm visiting with my doctor. And it's nice because I'm doing blood draws. They're testing my blood every 2.5, 3 months. And we're going over it. And then we're going over my goals. And then we're going over the exercises. And we're going over, okay, now here's your level. It's in the green. You're in that phase where the blood company says this is good, but that's not where you need to be. You need to be a little past it because this is what we're trying to do. And I'd like to know, because what should I be doing to make myself healthier every single day? And I think that's something that I struggled with my entire life. Again, I love food, so that's tough. but I still feel like I got to reward myself. I can't just eat chicken and broccoli every day. Wow. And I do love broccoli. Don't get me wrong, but.
Well, that makes one of us. I'm not a broccoli. I love chicken though, so I don't mind doing salad and chicken all day long. But I think what you're saying is key. First of all, when I'm listening to you, a couple things that I'm drawing out is, you got to find your reason. Like yours was medical.
Yeah, you're want to.
Yeah, you're want to. Yeah, what causes you to have this? I've got to change what's happening in my life. I can no longer continue to go this way. For you, it was kind of forced on you with the health issues.
Yeah, it was easy for me.
For me, I had a guy at church, you even know him, Jim Bowen, who came and talked to me. And at the same time, we had kids. At the same time, I was getting upset with myself of having to move up and buy more pants and for work and living on a budget. And so all those things kind of collided. And I'm thinking, I want to be around a long time. My wife's in good shape. Why am I not reciprocating her good work? So that... And then there's a spiritual aspect of Jim saying, hey, you want to be a good proclaimer of the gospel, and you don't want your weight to be in the way. So kid, wife, that all kind of came colliding together, and so it was what motivated me to get going. But then the next piece that I'm hearing is you got to be consistent, and it starts out small. You got to start with the things that you can do and build on them. Just little by little. It's hard for most people to just cold cut, go diet. That never seems to last. And it's, right. Or just start,
right?
Yeah, or I'm going to join the gym and I'm going to spend 5 hours in the gym. But then what are you doing? Are you doing it smartly? Are you really going to, you might get some results for a period of time, but then you're going to certainly hit a plateau. Or maybe you're like my friend who the other day I had lunch with and was sharing, he worked out for almost 3 months and had no results. And it wasn't because he wasn't working out hard. It was no testosterone. And so, you got to start somewhere, start making the small things. But then part of that, too, is getting good advice, finding professionals. I think, you kind of sounds like your doctors put you all into one, which I think you guys are getting ready to do some stuff. So when you do, we'll make sure we tag it onto this episode, and that way they can hear about it. I don't want to give away your thunder.
My thunder.
Yeah, that maybe we'll have you back and you can make an announcement and we can talk about that when you've got everything rolling. But I know that this is leading to you making some things from a career-wise that'll be happening, and we'll definitely put that out there. But in the meantime, for people listening, get good advice. It could be getting a good physical trainer. Get some advice. If you show up at the gym and you don't know what to do, you're wasting your time.
Right.
If you get somebody that kind of knows a little bit, it's worth spending a little bit of money, even if you can't afford a full-time one. I remember when I first went, and I was the same way. I'd been in the gym, but I'm here. I am losing my weight. I didn't want to embarrass myself, and I hired a trainer, and I did 4 sessions. I think it was like I verged $80. It was like $20 a session or something silly like that, an introduction package. Uh-huh. But it got me going in the right direction. I started learning about push-pull. I started learning some different exercises, and then I just started building on that. I started asking. Then I wasn't so embarrassed. I started losing weight. People took notice. I'd ask them, what are you doing? Find the body size you want to be. Are you really wanting to be, really big? I have friends that are going to be firefighters, and my first question is it looks like you're trying to be a bodybuilder. How many good bodybuilders are firemen? Yeah. You want a guy looking like a bodybuilder coming into your house? I mean, it maybe if they're trying to knock a door down, yeah. But I mean, trying to put that outfit on, it's probably going to take them an extra 5 minutes to put all that equipment on and wipe their butt too while they're at it.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because, my doctor's like, what do you want to look like, right? Like a bodybuilder, or, what are you really trying to go? I said, listen, I'm not trying to be Hulk Hogan. I'm perfectly fine with Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Lean and mean, right? Like lean and ripped. I mean, that's all I want. I don't need to go eat 10,000 calories, and I'm making up a number, folks, but, or Josh, I don't need that much, but, people that eat more and more and more calories while working out are going to get that type of look.
That's kind of where I was going. You got to kind of figure out what body shape you want to, what is your end goal? Is it just to lose weight, and do you want to just be skinny and not have any really tone or definition? Do you want to be lean and mean like a Bruce Lee? Do you want to have maybe a little more definition and be, let's say more like a baseball player, like Scott would be, which isn't a bodybuilder, but certainly not a real skinny, runner. He's not a runner, right? So
I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's something that we have to keep up with and keep it in shape, right? We don't want our muscles to atrophy. I mean, when I put 30 more years onto my life, I want to be able to grab my grandkids. If I have grandkids, I hope I do. I have 4 children, so I hope I have some grandkids. I want to be able to pick them up and hold them. And I want to carry them. I want to still be able to bend over and tie my shoes. When I was heavy, I don't know if you remember this, I was winded after tying my shoes. It was easier to go to slip-ons.
Oh yeah. I love flip flops at the time and anything sandal wise. And you're right. All my shoes, I'd get a lot of slip ons. Absolutely. I 100% understand. And when you were saying earlier about the food, one of the things I learned about is you can still enjoy what you want, but portion sizes. You don't need 3 chicken sandwiches when one will fill you.
Right.
Just take some time. Part of it too is I don't know how you were, but I would eat them really quick. Now I've learned to relax when I'm out to eat and just take my time and work my way through the meal. I did that today. I was eating out today. I haven't eaten out at a restaurant in probably a month, and I was at a restaurant today, yesterday and today, twice in the past few days. I haven't gone in probably 2 months, and but I was out to eat today, and I over 2 hours ate my meal.
Well, that's a long meal. It's a long meal, but you must have enjoyed it.
I just was eating a little bit.
Yeah.
I got some fajitas, and I just wouldn't, I got little tortillas, and I just put a little on, and I would just eat some meat and a little bit of bean and a little hot sauce and some vegetables.
You're carrying on a conversation, I'm guessing, with somebody during this time period, though, right?
Yeah, but you know what? In the past, if those fajitas would have come, I would have already eaten 2 bags of two of those chip things.
Oh, I've gone to lunch with you.
Yeah, and then I would have.
I remember we both would be not even really talking. We'd pound our meals, right? And you might have been 5 Diet Cokes in already.
I'd be pounding that. Well, and that's another thing I do. I still get diet soda, but I get a water. And what I do is always after I drink my cup of soda, even if they give me a refill, I make myself drink a cup of water next.
It's good. Water's good for you. Waking up drinking water, going to bed drinking water, it's definitely a good thing. It helps make you feel full, though, too. I drink a ton of water. As you can see, I got my mug, with me, and I carry this with me everywhere I go. So I think I got like 5 or 6 of these things.
That's awesome.
So in the morning, I have my coffee. I'll get my venti coffee. I'm just a straight black coffee guy, but I put stevia in it because it's a little too bitter for me. I don't even drink the whole cup, but sometimes I forget that I even have it. Even though I get it every single day, I might have 3 drinks out of it and forget about it. But I'm drinking out of that thing all day long.
We are very similar. I usually do these days, and when it's cold outside, I'll do a cup of coffee in the morning when I first get to the office, and then I take 10 of these and put them behind my desk. And I try to drink at least 3 to 4 of these before lunch, and I usually have lunch at a later lunch, usually like 1. Yeah. And then I'll have a diet soda just to give me my little pep with my healthy lunch usually here at the office, and then I'll pound out another 4 or 5 of these before I go to the gym, and then I'll drink water at the gym. I have my bottle at the gym and drink the whole time there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, you got to find your thing. For me I didn't know anything about working out. So I joined a CrossFit gym for a little bit. Actually, I'm still a member of the CrossFit gym. And I'll occasionally pop my head in and see what's going on. That's fun because you have a community, a group that you get to do exercises again. I loved it because I could be stupid. I didn't have to know what a clean was, or a jerk, or a squat, or what have you. I didn't have to learn all these different exercises. One I remember was called the hang clean. And I didn't have to learn them. They showed me how to do it, and we did it as a group, and it was fun. And the camaraderie of CrossFit was awesome at the gym that I went to. And I love that gym. They're doing awesome things, and I always will support them because they're doing a great thing. But you don't have to work out that hard. I found that out. I don't have to lift that much weight. And I like working out, Josh, and you do too, and with how you feel good afterwards. But you don't have to work out as much as people think.
I don't.
I do it 3 days a week. Well, 40 minutes.
So I do cardio every day, pretty much, or 6 days a week. But the lifting, I do 3 days a week too. 3 or 4. No, I do 4. I do legs Friday. I do back and shoulders Saturday, biceps, tries Sunday, and then I'll do a little bit of chest on either Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, that's it. I just do my The other days I don't lift. I try to do a little ab work every day. I try to do at least one thing on the abs, whether it be crunches, whether it be the Roman chair, whatever. I just do one thing, or sometimes you can do like an exercise that is working a body part and working the core at the same time. There are some,
Sure.
but the only other thing I do is try to get in and get my cardio in and get out.
It's good. I mean, I think it's good. I mean, people think you got to grab a lot of weight. You don't have to grab a weight, but you can't get in there. Like when you're lifting a barbell or a dumbbell, you can't just get in there and just like pump them out like this. You're getting a little bit of a workout, but it's about going slow. 2 seconds up, 3 seconds down, right? And you're not pumping them out. Sometimes when I go to the gym and I see them pumping it out as fast as they can, you don't really get a good workout doing that. Take your time slow. To be honest with you, I don't even know if I really sweat during my workouts.
You know what?
I know my heart rate's up, but I probably don't sweat because I'm not as big as I used to be.
Well, I think that's a natural thing too, because you're wiser. And I'm the same way. I do sweat when I'm doing my cardio, but when I'm doing my lifting, right, I usually don't, and I'm not trying to, I tell people all the time, I'm not trying to max out. Who am I
to impress?
I said, I'm going to be 50 years old. The last thing I want to do is worry about trying to put 100 pounds of muscle on his body. I said, my wife wouldn't even like that. Well, you know what I just want to do? I want to just maintain and define and as you say, kind of be lean. And I'm the same way. I put what's a comfortable weight, whatever I'm doing, whether it be, doing bench. I don't bench all the time. They've got, the gym I got, they've got assisted ones that kind of, machines you put your weight on, you just push out. It's not a bar. It's not on a bench. You're sitting down, but you're getting the same exercise. You're hitting your chest up, your chest straight, or maybe your chest down. So I just try to mix it up. I'll use TRX straps. I'll go 2 weeks where I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to do body weight. And I do everything. I'll set up my workouts is something you can do at the house. In fact, when COVID hit, it didn't affect me. I mean, as far as me losing weight, in fact, I probably lost more because I was just at home more, working out more. I just kept doing what I know to do, which was, okay, so I don't got a bench at the gym. I got TRX straps. I got this, I can use some bands, and I just started doing everything at home.
It worked. Yeah. See, I lucked out also during 2020. I had just ordered a ton of gym equipment for my basement so I could have a home gym. And it all showed up around I think it was January or February of 2020.
Oh, wow. So
I mean, it could have been the summer before, but I'm pretty sure it was it was before Corona hit. But I had all the equipment because at that time you couldn't get any equipment if you want to, or if you did, you were paying a ton of money, 2-3 times the cost for things. So we had all that too. I did my CrossFit guy, coach, helped me during that time period, and I put him on my iPad because I was still fairly new at all this stuff, and so he would tell me what to do. Again, I like to be dumb about it because I didn't want to learn the exercise. I just wanted someone to show me, and then I would just do it.
Something else that's kind of interesting is you got the row machine, and you can do a lot with the row machines. A lot of people don't know that, but it's like one of the more practical ones to have at the house because it's not just that you're using all that, but you can pick it up and you can. Well, you can also do curls with it.
If you want to, yes.
Yeah, you can do if you really think about it, you can do several types of exercises that aren't even dealing with the cardio aspect. You can just pull the pull part.
You're talking about just pulling the pull. At first, I thought you said you're going to lift up the actual itself. I'm like, I could see Josh pulling up the bottom of the roller trying to do curls with it.
I've seen people do whole workouts with those where they can work the whole body, where they can do, you can do bench. So you depending on how yours are. I've seen people set like a pillow on the wheel side, look up and then do that so they can get their chest.
Okay.
Do curls from it. They can get up and they can pull back and not just do it sitting down.
Yeah.
And get the back. And you can do.
Never seen anybody do any of that, but I'm guessing some of those would actually
stand up,
probably work.
Stand up and do your shoulders off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people do complete body workouts just off of a row machine.
And one thing that when you're talking about rowers, it's kind of off topic a little bit from what we were talking about, but if you've never used a rower before, or maybe even if you have used a rower, it probably wouldn't hurt to go on YouTube and look for proper form. Form's very important when you're doing the rower because you could hurt yourself, but also you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. When I've been to the gym, usually I go to the gyms when I'm out traveling. I go to the hotel gym. And if they have a rower, every time people typically don't use a rower correctly. And so Google it and look for proper form. Make sure that you're doing it correctly. And I found myself in the beginning, I wanted to make sure I was doing so correctly that I was not going and do it fast and I would stop. And then, but now that I've been using the rower for a long period of time, it just comes natural to you. But it is good to understand proper form because you could hurt yourself working out.
Well, that's on any exercise. I always tell people, we were just saying it. It's not about the weight. It's about the form. It's about taking your time, doing it correct, breathing. When you're saying one, 2 up, 3, really what you're doing is you're breathing. You're causing breaths. It's that breath. It's that oxygen getting down through your blood to your muscles, causing things to occur that works and builds that muscle, gives you that pump that you like to feel. You want all that. You go look at somebody who's doing it fast. They're almost always holding their breath. And then when they're doing that, they're doing all that jerking. Well, that hurt. Just like CrossFit not done properly, you do a lot of jerking, it'll hurt your joints. That's not healthy for you.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, I was a CrossFitter. And
I'm not trying to say CrossFit's bad. I'm just saying it undone with the wrong form can really be.
And it's the gym that I was at, Josh. It was they drilled proper form every single time, and they would constantly say, "Don't put all that weight on there if you can't do all that weight. Start here." And I was one of those guys. I wanted to put a lot of weight on it, and then I'd end up halfway through the exercise and I can't even do it because I put too much weight on it. And the coach, he knew. He's like, "I told you," So he helps me take it off and put the proper weight on.
Yeah.
It's okay just to lift a bar. If, my wife, Kel, comes down to the gym with me, and I said, "Listen, we're going to do some of these exercises and you're going to see me grab a dumbbell. It's going to be pretty heavy, but you're not going to grab a dumbbell at all. You're actually just going to do it in the air. You're just going to do just normal body weight. And then some of them I'm going to give you a 3-pound weight. I just want to make sure that you get the proper form down first. And I don't want to kill you where you're hurting 2 days later and then you don't go back. Let's just get the proper form down." But it all starts with really one thing. It's what you put in your mouth. What? It's tough. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. I can pound a large pizza. Nowadays, gluten-free pizzas aren't very big, but you got a 10-incher or something like that. But I could pound a whole pizza, and back in the day, I could probably pound one of them is extra large pizzas myself. Now the portions have gotten smaller, but it really does start from what you put in your mouth. And so some people, Josh, they say, "I'm at the gym, I'm working out as much as I possibly can. I can see that I'm burning calories." But again, it's like a budget. Money in and money out. Is there anything left to save? Calories in, calories out. So how much are we actually eating? And just because it's on the box doesn't mean that it's 100% accurate. Someone might say, "Hey, I'm eating a salad." Okay, that's good. There's no caloric value out of eating lettuce. Okay, and iceberg lettuce has no value to it at all. It's basically all water. So are we slamming it with a bunch of ranch dressing? What are we putting on it? And so it's a lot of all these different things that I think they're like, "Oh, I'm eating salad." Well, yeah, but you're not getting enough nutrients into your body. And that's something I think that we need too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I gave you a snippet, the Cliff Notes version of what happened in my life. But Josh, wow, there was so many visits to the hospital. It was crazy. I believe there was one year, I don't know how many times I was in the hospital, but if I had to guess, it was probably 60 times. So if I wasn't in the hospital for a day, 2 days, 3 days, I was at my office or at home and then going back to, it's like this constant trip going back. And my wife did a very good job. I love my wife, Kelly. If she would not have taken good notes, I don't know who told her to take notes. I'm guessing God told her to take good notes, right? She took good notes. And we nailed and looked at it that every single time I got sick, it was because we were coming from a restaurant or from home, whatever. It was something we were doing with eating.
Well, I think that's a good place to land. The only thing I want to add to it is this. My favorite picture of you was knowing that guy who had all the weight and was going through all the hospital things, and then during COVID, you put on I don't know if it was Facebook or Instagram, but one of those where you and your kids were working out outside in the land next to you. And I stopped for a second when I saw that, and I thought, that is so cool that he is able to do that now. That's what I wanted to do too. You know, that's why part of my motivation to losing weight was to be around with my kids and be able to keep up with them and have this enjoyable, fun life. And I saw that, and it really was a cool thing. And then watching even further where you're at today, you know, I think it's an amazing ordeal, and I'm excited about this next chapter that you've been kind of dropping little clues for me about, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out. And when it happens, we'll get you back on here.
I
maybe talk a
appreciate
little more about that.
I consider myself more of like an entrepreneur, and yeah, this is going to be a fun thing.
Well, I think so.
When it starts, we got a long way before it starts, but it'll be there soon.
Well, but everything you've done has turned to gold, my friend. So I have no doubt that this will be just one more thing that you'll put your mind to and see a lot of success. So,
well, I appreciate that, but nothing. None of it's from me. You know, that's the best is.
Yeah, God's good, right?
We get to use His stuff while we're here, and I appreciate it.
Amen. Well, good place to end. Hey, thanks for everybody who have been listening in on this great conversation. I learned a little more today about you. I
don't know how long we were doing this, but it didn't seem like we've been here that long, but we'll find out, I guess.
Oh, it was longer than you believe. I can promise you that. But that said, don't forget to support those that support us, and we'll put all their stuff in the notes below. Remember, I'm going to go through them really quick. Resource one with Andy McCallum and his team, and for those who need any website stuff, don't forget Chris Sisk at CS Design, and lastly, Jeff Earhart with State Farm. We appreciate their support as well. All their contact information will be in the notes below. And we will catch you guys next episode. God bless.
You're safe.